last-minute shakeup at 5:30 a.m., laundry situation not good. And when your focus is on helping your clients, it's easy to forget about yourself. But NASM knows trainers.
Morning, Ryan. It's with Hailey.
And staying in front of the day isn't always as
Nice,
simple
Ryan.
as 1,
What's
2,
up?
3. So when the unexpected has you pressing pause,
What's the latest on creatine?
I'm going to get back to you on that.
let NASM1 help you press play. Visit NASM.org to sign up for a membership today.
Hey everyone, welcome to Strong Mind, Strong Body. I'm your host, Angie Miller, and I'm just wondering, do you master your time or does time seem to master you? So today's episode is about how we can help you master your time, specifically productivity hacks for all of you wellness, fitness, or corporate pros out there. All of us probably have this struggle to kind of juggle our business, juggle our personal life. And today I have Hailey Rowe. She is a marketing and sales strategist and a certified life coach. She's going to reveal some time management strategies that help you as a professional work smarter, avoid burnout, and boost your productivity. Hopefully, you're going to learn some great tips to streamline your schedule and set better boundaries so that ultimately you get to generate more leads, book more clients, and build a profitable business without feeling that sense of overwhelm. So Hailey, like I said, she's a marketing and sales strategist. She's a certified life coach. She is a world of knowledge and just such a pro at helping her clients do exactly what she's going to teach you how to do today. So Hailey, I'm going to bring you on and have you introduce yourself. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you? Thanks so much for having me.
I am doing well too. Thank you, Hailey. So Hailey comes to us from the Chicago area, right?
I do. Yes, I'm from Chicago, and actually, I'll kind of share my background and how I got into all this.
Yes.
I originally was very interested in personal development at a young age. I was an old soul. And around 16, I started to get into fitness. That was kind of my gateway into personal growth. And I actually became a NASM personal trainer back in the day when I was at the age where I could. And I love what you guys stand for. I know you guys are the gold standard. And I did some personal training in college for staff and students. I did some in-home personal training on my journey. And I knew that I loved learning about business. I loved learning about marketing. And I loved how taking care of my health and fitness allowed me to go at entrepreneurship at full speed and take all the rejection and things like that because I had an outlet to channel stress and take moments for myself with fitness. So I ended up getting my bachelor's degree in entrepreneurship. And then after college, I started to work in business development and marketing for wellness startups. And I loved it because, first of all, I learned so much about how do you write good copy? How do you get out there and get clients? How do you, hire a team? And I did that until about 2017. And I kept telling myself, I'm not ready to have my own business full time because I was working so much at these startups, hence learning time management. But then in 2017, one of the companies that I worked for had to let everybody go in a day. They weren't going to be able to open when they thought they were going to be able to. And so at that point, I decided, you know what? These startups don't have it all figured out. I may not have it all figured out, but I might as well start my own business. And so I started to work with wellness professionals on how do they establish their businesses? How do they market themselves? And what I realized on that journey is how much you have to learn self-mastery and time management because you are getting so much information and you have to market yourself as well as wear all the hats in your business in the beginning if you're a solopreneur. And so time management just kept coming up with my clients, which is why we're talking a little bit more about that today.
You know what I love about your story is, to me, it hit on something. All the things that you said, one of the things that struck me was so many times somebody cutting the cord and releasing us when it feels like the worst thing that could ever happen, it always turns out to be the best thing. Whether it's somebody ends a relationship or somebody ends your job, whatever it is, so often we perceive it as this horrible thing. And yet, what it really does is it launches us and propels us to reinvent ourselves and to lean into who we are and what we're capable of. And I love that. And I also love when you were first talking and you said you started to really like look at personal development at a very young age. And I'm thinking, gosh, you're still very young. And so you were an old soul. You're like one of those people who was ahead of your time in your growth journey. So I love that. So let's go to that whole time management piece because that is a journey that speaks highly to you learning that. What do you think is why is time management a game changer for any professional, wellness professionals, whatever? Why is it a game changer?
I think it's a game changer because it expands your capacity. If you look at, they always say we all have the same 24 hours in a day, but some people get so much more output and have systems in place that allow them to do so much more than somebody else who maybe is flying by the seat of their pants for the day and has poor time management skills and gets distracted and also wastes a lot of like mental energy on overthinking or perfectionism or things like that. So there's time sucks all around us, meaning your environment might be causing you to be less efficient. Your systems might be causing you to be less efficient. Your emotions and not taking care of those might be causing you to be less efficient. So I think the key is to learn that skill of managing those different things in your life. And that's where time management comes in.
I agree. I don't think that people realize how much emotional time, how much emotions take time because emotions take energy. And I often will tell people, are you emotionally fatigued or are you physically fatigued? Because emotional fatigue feels much the same way. It's a weight on your mind, which proves to be a weight on your whole system. And so you said that time management expands your capacity. I love that because it's a positive way of looking at it. It expands your capacity for productivity is from where I sit. And, we get caught up in that overthinking, that perfectionism. And then we just get stuck because we ruminate about, sorry, but ridiculous things like, what should I title this podcast? Hello. Been there many times. So how does being more efficient then translate into more booked sessions and revenue?
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I talk about with clients is there is what we call busy work, and then there's client generating work, right? And a lot of times what I see individuals who are in the fitness field getting sucked into is doing like ego boosting activities like, oh, I got to really, show my workout, or I got to edit this graphic and make it look cool for my Instagram post, or I got to really obsess over my website and I can't do anything until my website's fully perfect. And the truth is, if you are a trainer or if you are a fitness professional or if you're any type of entrepreneur and you're beginning and you want to have a business and you want to have a clientele, your main job needs to be, or your tasks need to be centered around something that either allows you to connect with new people who may be either partners for you or potential clients, allows you to engage with them and hear what they want, what they need, how you can add value, allows you to offer something of value like a freebie or an initial consult or something like that to get into their world, and then actually making the invite to the sales process. So either having an email funnel that does that for you or having, some kind of personal training package you offer them after the consult or having discovery calls. And so if your time is being spent on things that don't fall under one of those buckets, I'm connecting with new people, I'm engaging them, I'm giving free value up front to build trust, and or I'm in that sales process, it's probably an activity you either need to pause or you might want to outsource or things like that. So I think the original question was, how does time management make us more efficient? Well, it's more about making sure that the time you are spending, it's not about how much time you have and how much grind you're putting in. It's about the time that you do have. Are you doing the client generating activities, or are you kind of doing the ego boosting / busy work activities?
I'm glad you said that because, I would position to say, let's say that you have 12,000 followers on Instagram, okay? And you're up there and you're doing your workouts. And those 12,000 followers are benefiting. And yet are they paying you, right? And so
Mhm.
I hear you say that's great and that, builds your followers trust and what have you, but is that really translating to income? And I've noticed something about you, Hailey, and I kind of want to go there for a minute. Your main bread and butter, it seems like, is on LinkedIn. You're not really paying attention to Instagram. You're going after a professional community. And that's something that I really have admired about your brand is I've watched your brand and I see that you're much more visible on LinkedIn. I don't remember well, correct me if I'm wrong. It
Yeah.
doesn't feel like
That's fair.
Instagram is your main focus. And so I think that I could be wrong, but that's a big part of it too. Where's your audience and where are you
Right.
going to generate revenue? To me, even if you're, a fitness trainer, whatever you are, what kind of clientele are you seeking? And then where are you going to find them? I have a lot
Exactly.
of friends who have huge Instagram followers and it's not generating to dollars and cents. And then I have some who it is, but then
Yeah.
I have friends who are huge on LinkedIn and that is generating to
Yeah.
dollars and cents. What's your thought?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And I think that it's not to say that posting your workouts on Instagram can't lead to clients. If you do calls to action and you're nurturing your audience and it's part of your plan, that's great. But it's more like for me personally, and I'm active on Instagram and LinkedIn, but you're right. I spend a lot more time connecting with people on LinkedIn because it's a networking platform and because I work with a certain type of professional. And so it makes a lot of sense for me to be building relationships, sending out connection requests, networking, that kind of thing. While Instagram's more like some people might go to it and kind of stalk me a little bit or check out my stuff and see if they like what I'm putting out there. But it's not like, oh my gosh, my goal is to go viral on Instagram because you're right. I've seen people who I've worked with who as clients and they've come to me and they're like, I have 18,000 followers, but like none of them buy from me. None of them engage with me. I don't know what's going on. So I think that when you're trying to pick a marketing platform and a marketing plan, it's important to put just as much or more time into nurturing relationships, networking, finding your ideal clients on LinkedIn or whatever platform that is and engaging with them as opposed to just posting and hoping that people see it. You know what I mean?
Okay. So meaning you have to be actively in pursuit instead of just hoping that you're going to put something up there that speaks to people. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if you can put stuff out there that speaks to people, that's wonderful. But I think when you're new, you also have to take initiative because if you don't have any followers seeing you, then that's not going to work well. So you have to be building your following by either being on podcasts or doing collaborations like Instagram lives with people or on LinkedIn, for example, connecting and saying, what kind of tips do you want to see here on my LinkedIn page? I'm trying to make it useful, like getting some feedback. So I think that goes further than just kind of posting and without any growth lead
Yeah.
gen type of activities.
That makes a lot of sense. So, if there's something that we could do today, if there's a simple but powerful strategy that you would say to all of us listening, when you guys finish this podcast, this is one thing I want you to do today that would
Mhm.
help you tremendously with your time management. What would you say? Is there like a
Yeah,
platform to use or what would you say?
yeah. Well, there's kind of two options. The first one would be if you just feel like time gets away from you and you can never get to the things you want to do. I think the first thing you should do on yourself is a time audit where you actually time yourself for maybe 3 days or a week using an app called Toggle. It's spelled Toggl. And it will send you a report at the end of the week about how much time you spent on things. So it'd be good to see, like, here's how much time I spent with clients. Here's how much time I spent on Instagram making content. Here's how much time I spent on doing accounting or whatever it is. And it'll be really useful because you'll be like, wait a minute, why did I spend so much time on content? Oh, right. I got down a rabbit hole and I was scrolling someone else's feed. And then I remembered I was doing content and then I went back to it. Like, so you'll start to catch your patterns.
Yeah.
But the other thing that I would do, if you can, is start making what I call a wish list and then an actual list. And what I mean is each morning I kind of pull from my phone notes because that's just what's easy for me. But think about, where do you keep all your tasks? Do you have a to-do list? Do you have a project management system or tool where you keep things? Wherever you do, kind of look at that, look at the tasks for the week or for the day, pull off of it what your wish list is for today. Like, today I would love to do these steps, whatever they are. And then before you just say that's your to-do list for the day, look at your actual day, look at your meetings, look at your, times you have to pick up your kids and when normally dinner is and all that kind of stuff. And block out the actual responsibilities you have to do, like pick up your kids, go to this meeting, whatever it is. See where there's open space in your time batched day, and then put in an actual realistic amount to fill in the gaps that are your goal-oriented activities, and be more realistic about giving yourself buffer time, transportation time, like what actually fits into the day, and start practicing honoring that commitment, because that will build your trust with yourself and a much better picture of your timeline for things, because you're going to actually be able to know, like, I can get this email done in 45 minutes or whatever it is. So it builds that trust so that you're never like, nowadays when I commit to stuff, I'm never like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to have time to film that summit presentation. And I'm not stressed the night before doing it, because I know, oh, that usually takes me about 30 minutes. I'll probably do it on Wednesday at 12, like blah, blah, blah. So I think those are two good places to start.
I think that's an amazing way of putting it. And I think that that's so true, is it builds your self-trust, because there's the ideal way I would like my day to go, and then there's the realistic. And so many times people get caught up in what's ideal, but they're not really looking at their day and being realistic about what they can actually accomplish. And then it erodes your self-trust. And then at the end of the day, it's like, oh, it fits your narrative of, I'm terrible at managing time. And we tend to set ourselves up not to be successful. It's kind of like working out at the gym. And I tell my clients in my classes all the time, if I hear you say I'm going to work out every day, I'm going to hold up my hand and say, are you sure? Right? Because you're setting yourself up to not build self-trust, to get injured, to get burnout, to do all the things, and how are those workouts going to look, and so on and so forth. And so I'm not saying people can't exercise every day. I'm saying it depends on how they're exercising, how long, and what their exercise history is. So I think that that's a great way of doing it. Is oftentimes I'll build my wish list, and then I look at my calendar and I go, seriously, Angie, are you sure? Like that would require 3 days worth of work. And turns out you only have 8 hours. So Hailey, before we move on, I just kind of want to reset for a second. So I'm Angie Miller, and this is Strong Mind, Strong Body. I'm talking to Hailey Rowe. And we are talking about basically how to manage our time more efficiently, basically productivity hacks for wellness pros. Hailey is a marketing and sales strategist, and she's a certified life coach. And she's kind of a time management guru, and she teaches this all the time. So I'm excited to have her here today talking about tips that we can implement. So Hailey, you mentioned Toggle, TOGGL, as kind of a tool. Are there any other systems or tools that you recommend, or solutions for automating or optimizing time?
Yeah, definitely. So another one that I really like is, there's a free app called Goal Streaks. And it's for if you have something you do on like a weekly basis, or you have a target for like, I want to work out 3 times a week or something like that. It allows you to check off, yes, I did it, or no, I didn't, and see your history and see your streaks. And so I really like that as a tool for if you have things you got to remember, like ongoing, and you want to actually track if you're doing it or not, or track your key metrics for success. That's a really fun one. I also have a free weekly planning system that takes you through the steps of like doing a brain dump, dividing things into categories, figuring out what's the top priority. And so that's at haileyrowe.com/time planning, all one word. And it also gives you weekly reflection questions. So that's the other thing. Somehow you need to automate some kind of time each week to look at like what went well, what didn't go well, what do I want to fine tune, what do I want to do more of in the next week, what do I want to do less of, and other tools that I like. So there are so many social media tools as far as like, scheduling posts and project management. Like I like Trello for organizing big projects. But personally, I think I'm glad you asked this question because I think it's less about tools and more about um, just having a system that you can easily access. Because I've had too many times where I try to be over sophisticated in my tools. And then I'm like, I'm not going to pull up this spreadsheet or this like tool thing every single time I want to do this thing. I need it to be on my phone. I need it to be easy if I'm going to keep doing it. So,
Yeah.
and then the last thing, of course, would be Claude AI or ChatGPT are wonderful for helping you. Like, let's say you write something up that's a post and you want to see if ChatGPT or Claude AI could, edit your typos and clean it up or do the finishing touches or add emojis or, so I do like that as a tool for just helping smooth things out and make things easier.
Yeah, I think so too. To be honest with you, I've leaned into them too. I was so resistant for so long. And now I'm like, you know what they do is they're like my teacher, my editor.
Mm-hmm.
And I get on and then sometimes I edit them because I'm like, yeah, no, I don't like that.
Yep.
That's not grammatically good, Claude. But yeah, 100%. And I'm also with you. I was just on Hailey's podcast and we have an upcoming episode. And I talked about how I've been given so many options for running my business, like marketing tools and what is it? Just places to do my books, Dubsado or whatever it might be. And sometimes there's such complicated systems that I lose 30 days just trying to learn the system. And then I go, you know what? If I'm an old school um, Word document girl, then I'm an old school Word document girl. And if that works for me and I don't have to lose 30 days trying to learn a system and then pay them a $79 fee every year, do what works for you, right? We all grew up in different times learning different techniques. And if the learning curve puts you on overwhelm, that's not a productivity saver. That is a stressor. And either that or hire somebody, get on Fiverr
Right.
and hire somebody to learn it and then teach you how to do it. Right.
Yeah. And I do think sometimes we need to slow down to speed up, meaning if something in the long run, like if learning, like I'll give you an example. I use Kartra for my newsletters and my hosting my courses and making landing pages. And at first it felt like a waste of time to make any landing page on that platform. But once I learned it once and I did take the time to slow down, now it really, really serves me. So I think part of it is deciding what times does that serve you to slow down and learn it? Like, because now anytime I want, I can go make a landing page and I'm not stressed about it at all. And it's very easy. And I use my, stuff I already have saved in there. And which times it's kind of like, do I really need to learn this or could I have someone else do it? Or is this just not something that is worth my while right now, or this is the other big one. People get softwares or tools before they need them. Like they'll buy this super fancy email CRM system when their email list size is 0, when you really could have signed up for like a free MailerLite account and built your first, 2,000 subscribers or something, and then maybe moved into something more sophisticated. So that's another thing I see a lot.
I agree. I've been there. I bet you have too, where I bought too much of a robust system. And I'm like, oh, you got ahead of yourself, Angie. You didn't need this robust system right now. You could have started smaller and then built your way up. So, Hailey, is there anything else? First of all, I do want to make sure that everyone knows how to get a hold of you. I love that you mentioned your free download. What else, or how else can people who are listening reach out to you?
Yeah, well, I have the Health Coach Nation podcast, which is tips for wellness professionals and business owners who want to grow their business. I also have the free Marketing Hub Facebook group. It's facebook.com/group/the Marketing Hub group. And you're welcome to network in there and get free tips. I'm on Instagram at Hailey_Rowe. And then my website is just HaileyRowe.com. And then I mentioned, of course, the free weekly planning system, which is HaileyRowe.com/time planning.
Okay, amazing. Hailey, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your tips. It's been a delight to have you on. And thanks to all of you listening to Strong Mind, Strong Body. Thank you for your engagement. Thank you for your positive support. And I'm always welcome to your ideas and thoughts. We'll see you next week.